The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. Wednesday lunchtime on the Isle of Man. You and me through till 1 o'clock. An open line today, but still lots of talk about this proposed restricted parking on vans and motorhomes. Just before we get started, police are appealing for witnesses. There was a small fight between a group of young people in the Lord Street car park in Douglas last night. Officers say it happened around 7 o'clock, resulting in one person getting treatment for injuries in hospital. It's believed some members of the public intervened to separate the group. Now, if you were around the area and you saw what happened, the constabulary would like to hear from you on 631212. I have to say, I drove by that area and there was quite a large group of young people on the pavement around there. I didn't see anything untoward at the time, but if it's about 7 o'clock last night, maybe you're at the bus station, maybe you're one of those people who tried to intervene, then the police just want some information as one person's had to go to hospital. 631212. My views on vans and motorhomes and trees, says this lady. About 1,950 business owners, especially the building trade, have to have their own premises, which also housed any vehicles on which they paid overheads. So where are they now? I also pay insurance and road tax. I don't expect to have a special section of the road for my personal use. My car is parked inside my property. When in business, my late husband made sure that our home premises were adequate to keep his business vehicle off the road. And also, when did the rules for social housing, for state housing tenants, become so lax? I was under the impression that tenants were unable to run a business from home or to own a motorhome. I don't know whether that's the rule now, that you can't park a motorhome outside a commissioner's house. Small wonder there's a waiting list as well. I too would prefer to pay council house property rates. So, is that true? Can you park a work vehicle if in effect you're running a vehicle from social housing? Is that within the terms of your lease? And as regarding trees, says this lady, as the island's becoming a series of housing estates with small gardens, the law requires renewing regarding garden trees. Trees of a certain height shouldn't be permitted to grow in small gardens, which is what a lot of the new housing estates have now. Some have virtually a postage stamp. So why should a neighbour be responsible for overhanging bushes and tree branches, especially if no fit young person's available to cut and throw back the overhanging branches? Tree owners aren't always thoughtful or cooperative. Some are, but some aren't. The law should stipulate the ultimate height of any tree likely to prove an inconvenience to immediate neighbours, says that lady. Thanks for that. Lady dropped me a note in from the north of the Isle of Man. And also Beth dropped me a note regarding students at UCM. UCM students have been appealing for a safe crossing at the bottom of Greenfield Road at the Grandstand Junction for a number of years, and this is where students cross to get the bus stop towards the centre of Douglas. UCM agrees that there needs to be a safe crossing for students as the road is very busy. And it's the current traffic light system's quite a distance to walk, especially if you have a disability. And Beth says, on a number of occasions I've witnessed students give up waiting and just run across the road to get to the bus stop, as there's nowhere safe to cross, and almost get hit by a car. Some children from Williston also cross here to get to Nobles Park in the evenings. Surely this is an accident waiting to happen, and we hope there's something that can be done to progress further for the safety and well well-being of road users and students. I'm sure some of your listeners have witnessed students and children just run across the junction, the Greenfield Road junction. That's the one at the bottom of the road from the college, the old college UCIOM, onto Glen Crutchery Road, almost just by the grandstand. So if you've seen that, or if you've seen people just dash across the street, it'd be nice to hear from you if you've got anything to say on that subject. And also regarding yesterday, we were talking about becoming a cashless society, and this survey that's on at the moment that you can get a copy of from St George's Court, but is mainly online, about becoming a cashless society on the Isle of Man. 5331 got to the bottom of it and said, Andy, what happens if you have to spend a penny? What do you do now? Is there a card machine? I don't think it's a penny anymore, is it? I think it's considerably more. And a viable alternative to fossil fuel, says Malcolm, and this is concerning the fact that from January next year, any new building or extension will not be allowed, it'll be against the law to put a fossil fuel heater in there. No fossil fuel heating system, even if you've already got planning permission for something. From January, you can't have it. Malcolm says a viable alternative to fossil fuel heating is infrared heating. The unit cost of heating compared to gas or electric central heating is 75% less. My son's converted from gas central heating, and his solar panels now generate a positive return as he uses less than the electricity generated. So is that it? Stick some solar panels on you. It costs a lot of money, of course. And there was a message came in yesterday and just said, if we take the £40 million that it's going to cost for the wind turbines, why don't we just divide it up and give everybody free solar panels on the roof? If we want renewable energy, why doesn't the government just give the money and anybody who wants solar panels on the roof can have some? Or maybe just a giant discount on solar panels on your roof, and then, says this correspondent, we wouldn't need the wind turbines. Well, it's an argument, isn't it? Use cash majority of the time, says Paul. It's I have a better control over spending and the bank doesn't know where I'm spending my own money, says Paul on 931. So keep the cash. Are they going to ban barbecues, says Nick on 970. We haven't heard that yet. But as for banning, you can't bring it inside and use it as a fossil fuel heater. That's all I will say. So that's when that's going to happen. And a little context for this. I mean, the Royal Show's on this weekend. We're live on Friday from the Royal Show, but Friday and Saturday at Knockalo. A week on Sunday, it's the MGP. Schools go back 4 weeks today. And in 10 weeks tomorrow, single-use plastic is outlawed on the Isle of Man. 11 weeks on Sunday, the clocks go back, and at the end of December, in January, no more fossil fuel heatings in new buildings. Andy says, why are fossil fuel advertisers still allowed to advertise on national radio? Is it money talking? Well, it's no secret. I don't know how to break this to you, Andy, but Manx Radio has been a commercial radio station for 59 years. You can advertise whatever you want. I mean, within reason. And that's how it works, I think. Put it this way, without the advertisers, there wouldn't be Manx Radio. 70 pence in every pound is generated from commercial revenue. And we're not communists yet, anyway. Would helicopters not be used to lift the new wind turbine sections into the planned locations? No need to use roads. They're very heavy. I don't know whether they've got helicopters that can actually deal with anything that big. But again, question that we could ask for the future if the new wind turbines, the new wind farms go to the south or the north. That the government should gift us all wind turbines for our roofs. Everybody should have a windmill on their roof. Again, not the most practical solution, but something we could put to the government. If all this money is going to be used, then what's it going to be used for? Now, yesterday we were talking about sex education, but also when Tim Glover and Jason Morehouse came in on Monday, they were talking about the fact that the sex education report hadn't come out. Lo and behold, it came out. And the news now is that relationships and sex education will be taught in Manx secondary schools, but not until next year.
A one-page executive summary of the second part of an independent investigation which looked specifically at how the RSE curriculum was taught at QE2 has been released today. The summary says improved communication between schools and families will enable parents and carers to make informed decisions regarding the delivery of this curriculum to their children. It says a smaller group of teachers should be encouraged to specialise in the subject of relationships and sex education, and whilst the contents of the curriculum are age-appropriate, training will ensure a consistent and age-appropriate method of delivery. The Minister of Education, Sport and Culture, Julie Edge, says, "I welcome the report and thank all the parents, teachers and officers who have contributed." She says her department will now work with schools to ensure that necessary changes are made and a clear plan is developed to inform the most appropriate way forward to resume delivery of RSE in early 2024. Minister Edge says the department will ensure the plans are communicated appropriately to parents.
I wonder what your thoughts are. Particularly if you're a parent or a carer, what your thoughts are. It's going to be delayed and it will be next year. We'll see. Text to 425. Andy, does the new plan, the regulations mean if I extend my house by one bedroom, does it need a separate heating system? I don't know. I'm guessing, and again, I may be entirely wrong on this, I'm guessing you could probably stick a radiator in there. You're not actually putting a brand new heating system in, are you? You're not for one, or maybe the same with any loft conversion. But we'll find out as we get closer. I don't know, to be quite honest. If you're extending your house by a bedroom, do you need a separate heating system? More people asking whether helicopters should be used for this. I don't know about this. Tidal power is currently under discussion in the UK. This could be a source of green energy for the Isle of Man, says John on 557. Actually, we have a couple of tidal power experts on the Isle of Man, and hopefully they're going to be with us. Come probably the autumn, we'll be talking about tidal and wave power. I don't know whether you remember, if you're of a certain age, there was a Tomorrow's World show back in the 1970s that showed little nodding ducks or nodding donkeys. It was a massive tidal power mat that was put out, and these things seem to work. All we'll say is that tidal power really hasn't generated, pun intended, any traction. It's not really worked anywhere in the world, so whether wave power or tidal power will happen, then we don't quite know. As to its relevance on the Isle of Man, we'll see. A reminder, says John, for listeners to complete the railway survey. For what it's worth, says John, well, they say the railway, this is the Heritage Railway survey that's going on. Actually, it finishes this coming Sunday, and John, thank you for reminding me of that. It's this coming Sunday, the Heritage Railway survey that says, when I can find it, the consultation was launched in July, early July, and it's this Sunday, the 13th of August. The public consultation concludes. It's 6 weeks run on the 13th of August. The department anticipates receiving diverse perspectives and valuable feedback. Whatever that means. Anyway, the exercise aims to gather views from the public. Contributions will help inform the ongoing independent review and economic impact assessment conducted by this French company, Sistra. Understanding who uses the Heritage Railway network and why will support the review and the final report that they're presenting at the end of September, the Heritage Railway system on the Isle of Man. You can email written comments, by the way. The consultation documents at consult.gov.im. Written comments can be emailed to Joanne Taylor. Joanne is joanne.taylor@gov.im, or you can send it by post to the Central Support and Change Division at the DOI at the C Terminal in Douglas, IM1 2RF. if you're counting. That's Central Support and Change Division, Department of Infrastructure at the Sea Terminal in Douglas, IM1 2RF. And if you want to get your say in it, get your two penneth in regarding the Heritage Railways, then you have until this Sunday. Graham's with us now. Hi, Graham.
Hi there.
You're live on the air, Graham.
Right, okay. So, the planning permission, if you extend a house by one bedroom, as the guy said,
Yeah.
You have to include upgrading your heating system to non-fossil fuel. So that's the first thing I wanted to say.
Is that absolutely official? Have you seen that written down? If you extend the house, you have to take out your fossil fuel boiler and put a newfangled one in.
Absolutely.
My word.
Yeah. So and the second thing, the wave power. I've been beating my drum about wave power for over 15 years, and the Orkney Islands are completely powered from the sea.
There aren't many around the world, though, are there, Graham?
Well, if you take that as an example, it is powering the whole of the Orkney Islands.
And what system have they got? Have they got one of these underground propellers, or is it something that comes up and down with the tide? Is it wave power or tidal power?
No, it's an underwater tidal power. And it's a big turbine that's underneath the sea level. And that is fantastic. Anybody can find that on the internet.
And you think that's something we should look at?
100%. The sea comes in and out twice a day, every day. It's guaranteed energy, you know.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for that, Graham, and thanks for dropping the bombshell about this planning thing, but sticking an extra room on. I'm sure you've depressed lots of people.
Absolutely, I'm sure I have.
All right. Thanks for calling today.
Thanks, then. Bye.
Cheers now. David's on now. Hi, David.
Hi, Randy. Just on that particular subject, just jumping off a little bit there. We need a definitive answer from planning, and the only person that can give that is the chairman of planning, isn't it, David Ashford? So the question would be to Mr. Ashford is it law yet to do this thing? Could they enforce it by law? I don't think there's a law in there. There's an aspiration, isn't there, to have this done. And the other one is, what about their own major buildings, schools, youth clubs, homes? Is that the reason why the one in Ramsey is not getting a makeover?
And also, what about municipal housing? I mean, if they're replacing the Lord Street flats somewhere in Douglas and building stuff elsewhere, what to do there?
Yeah, it's in my mind, it's definitely going electric, and that's the way we're going to have to suck it up. But what's the initiative or the incentive for us to transfer over to that? Anyway, I better get on to my subject. We'll let the others talk about that. Did you get all the photographs of the camper vans, horse box? I did.
You've been a very busy photographer with that. And where are these? Are these all around Onken?
Yeah, most of them Belgravia, Greva Drive, some School Road, Stony Road, and the horse box, which, to let you know, I didn't think there was a horse in it, and it's gone. So the power of radio actually is give the what it does, two things anyway, is makes the person realise that they're in the wrong place, and then they move it.
This was the horse box that was parked up by Onken Park, is that right, by the boating lake?
Yeah, and you asked me was there a horse in it, and I said nay.
Yeah.
And so, but the guy who had the big American job camper van, right, renewed his tax disc. So it's cost him, I think it was 470 quid and that's the one that hasn't moved for 6 months, and it's got a nice piece of grass or moss growing underneath it. But the lady that was on sometimes, I look back at one of the Mannin Lines there, the lady that came on, she's a mature lady that said, hit the nail on the head. If it's a police matter, it's a regulation in law, right? And the police have to enforce it, especially on heavy goods vehicles. There's no argument on that. You can't have a heavy goods vehicle in a 30-mile-an-hour zone or a home zone after 6 o'clock. And then we went on to other things. Well, how can we enforce it? But the police are going round, and should they not enforce it? I know they've got other things to do, whatever. But I wonder whether we could have the Chief Constable on and say what his view is of the Isle of Man on neighbourhood policing. How could we not lower it down, but use another force? What about the specials? I presume, I don't know how many specials we've still got, to use them at the weekend to...
So this whole point about people parking after 6, and certainly at weekends, because obviously if you stick a one of these big things outside somebody's house, 6 o'clock on a Friday, you've got until 8 o'clock on Monday morning, and again, it just depends where the sort of common sense lies in here. Are you being obstructive to people? Are you being kind of impolite to people to do this, or is it your right because you paid road tax to park wherever you're allowed to park within the letter of the law?
Well, that's the issue. It's within the law, and the lawmakers, which are Parliament, make the laws, and the police are to enforce them. But when you have neighbours too, and I sent you the one up in the posh area, I called it, and up in the Majestic there, where there's 9 cars either side of a lady who's getting distressed. And
that's in trendy, posh Howe Road.
Yes. And I've asked the question of the Vehicle Testing Centre and the DOI, the white bars, what's the ruling on it? Because that individual can't get out without struggling onto the highway or get back in. And the other one is to lumber on a little bit too. I was always told that if you had a trailer, whether that's a big trailer or a small trailer, it was clearly an offence after 6 o'clock, as a heavy goods vehicle is in a particular area. So I just wonder whether in this mix, hopefully you think neighbours would appreciate it. And I've said before, the test that I believe is, would you like it at your house? If this was drawn to your house and put there, would you like it? And normally the question is no.
Okay. All right, David. Appreciate that.
See you.
Cheers now. And Wayne joins us on Mannin Line. Hi, Wayne.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah. Just quickly, as one off yesterday, we've got refugees obviously here now, as we know. So as they have to wait to get the papers.
Sorry, you're going to have to get that phone close to your mouth, Wayne. We can't hear you.
Sorry, mate. As these refugees are here, as we know, from yesterday, this lady that went back and she's not coming back either. She said the way it works, and I read up about it as well, the paperwork has to go through, obviously. The public person paying them for this hotel, B&B probably as well. I just don't get it how, as a white citizen, raised and born here, my case in court was thrown out after they admitted guilt to the Department of Home Affairs, and it's still to this day, it's going to bug me how my legal aid was cut, and these things are happening right in front of my eyes.
Okay, all right, Wayne, thanks for that. Your signal's drifting all over the place, but I think you were asking about the fact that we've got refugees on the Isle of Man and how much it's costing for refugees on the Isle of Man when there are people on the Isle of Man needing social support. We have got, well, certainly we've got Ukrainian refugees on the Isle of Man. There's a certain number of Ukrainian refugees. I'm assuming that they're getting social support. As for other refugees, I'm not quite sure. don't actually know that we've got any other. I think the only refugees we have funded by the state may be Ukrainian refugees. But if you can give us any clarification, then more than welcome to find out about that. Bonzo's on now. Hi, Bonzo.
Oh, hello. Yes, I think I saw something on Facebook about this refugee nonsense. I think it's just more of the sort of right-wing political agenda. Anyone foreign.
I've not heard of anything concrete or detail about it. In fact, I don't think there is any such thing as a refugee centre here.
No, absolutely not. We don't take anything from the asylum system of UK. The refugees that are here are Ukrainian refugees, and they are from that particular program that we agreed to. But anything else, no. That's not right. So I think that's just somebody thinking that there are foreigners here in this particular place, and somehow that this is all dreadful and like Poland or something. It's kind of nonsense that various people like to push around. On something more sensible, Graham was talking about tidal and wave power.
Yeah.
Now, yes, I remember they were called Salter's ducks.
That's right. Do you remember seeing that on Tomorrow's World?
Yeah. Yes, I'm old enough to remember that. Actually, yeah. So yes, it was in the mid-70s, and they tested something else. Well, there was a mat, and there was another thing called a snake, which was kind of like a centipede, really. So the waves would hit it, and it would sort of, wobble up and down like a centipede.
Yeah. And
that way, it would take the power, and also take the power. Not only take the power, but also take the power of the wave in such a way that it's not really hammering the actual device that's doing that, because one of the things with wave power is, of course, the fact that it's taking a lot of mechanical stresses, and so that's why they were looking at the math and such like and maintenance. But the thing that really, we could really do something with, and the environment has started to go that way, is tidal power. Now, Graham was mentioning a bunch of people in Orkney, and a bunch of people I know of called Orbital Marine, and they have one of the largest marine tidal turbines in the world, and it produces 2 megawatts, which is not exactly a vast amount when compared to things. And also the things, a lot of deep water, because essentially it's a wind to put it in very simple terms, although it's much more complicated. It's kind of like a wind turbine, but it's down in the sea, from a sort of great big floating thing, which has got all the generator bits. It then takes the tidal power in and out. Now, the problem is with our tidal power is, yes, we've got quite a good tidal breach, but it's shallow. So there's a problem with that kind of thing that would need a sort of 10, 12-metre rotor underneath so you're talking about having sort of 15, 20 metres of sea underneath, which I think we have to go a bit of a way out in order to get. Whereas, I think there's a company that are trialling this on the Hudson, around New York, because that's relatively shallow, and they've put it in a flat way, so that the rotor isn't sticking down, so they can actually sort of get it in relatively shallow water and extract that. But the thing is, it's not so much the technical. It's the money side, and now you've heard me talk about something called contracts for difference, the UK method of sort of subsidising renewable power. Now, I think we can actually, or we may be getting quite near to the time when we can actually get access to bid for this kind of subsidy for various renewables, and also in particular tidal. now gets you the most subsidy, the most money. It's a very attractive what we call strike price for it. So if we can get that, and then we can get a suitable system, then it's something. And I think that's something that I've heard Manx Utilities are examining as well. So it's not as if Manx Utilities are putting all their eggs in one basket and just thinking it's renewables and the interconnector are all bust.
And do we know where around the Isle of Man tidal would be applicable?
The best place, I think, is just on Fronsway. It's Derby Haven.
My word. Okay,
that has an immense tidal reach, which is why the people from the Fleet Air Arm Training Station, if they sort of crashed into the sea, they didn't stand that good a chance because the current's very, very fast.
Okay. All right, Bonzo, good to hear from you. Thanks for calling.
Okay, then, cheers, bye.
I got a note in from Pat on 22. Pat was out and about last night with a pad and pencil on Douglas Promenade last night. There were 53 local commercial vehicles and there were 2 homes. I think he got his 10,000 steps in yesterday. In Saddleston, there were 9 government and telecom vans. In Harbour Road, Onchan, there were 3 telecom vans and 4 builders' pickups. In Pulrose, outside the school, lots of painters' vans and a hoist wagon who didn't live in the area. And that was just last night. And a message in from Pete who says, hi Andy, regarding using a helicopter to lift a wind generator blade, I believe a 155-foot blade weighs 27,000 pounds, which is 12 tons, and a 78 to 124-foot blade weighs 5,200 pounds, which is 2.3 tons. The Mil-Me helicopter can lift weights up to 44,000 pounds. So this Mil-Me helicopter can lift 19.5 tons. So it is possible to lift a wind generator blade with a helicopter, says Pete.
Isle of Man Creamery are proud exhibitors at our agricultural shows with exclusive show offers. So come along and say hello, taste some samples and take home a piece of Isle of Man Creamery. We're in the Defo Producers Marquee.
You look happy.
I am. I'd worried about what could happen to my family if I die or can't work, so I've arranged a protection policy with financial options.
Sounds great, but it's another monthly cost.
Yes, but cover starts from as little as £5 a month, a small price to pay for financial peace of mind.
You're right.
Call Financial Options on 612 611 or check out financialoptions.co.im.
Chase Financial Services Limited, trading as Financial Options, is regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Every drop is precious. Water. So easy to take it for granted, isn't it? Our reservoirs supply the needs of our island, but with the effects of climate change, that's becoming more challenging every year. Manx water is the only water we have, so we need to make every drop count by using it wisely, at home, in the garden and in general. Visit manxutilities.im to find out how you can begin smarter living, to lower energy bills and reduce your impact on our island environment.
1, 2, come together for a night of pure Beatle nostalgia with the Bootleg Beatles. Journey through the swinging 60s with the world's most successful and longest running tribute, bringing the sounds and the atmosphere of the Beatles to life for one night only. Book now at villagaiety.com or on 600 555. The Bootleg Beatles, August 10th at the Villa Marina.
Join us from Friday, August the 11th to Monday, August the 14th for our annual fundraiser.
Following our successful crowdfunder, we're aiming to raise additional funds to get Ross Revenge into dry dock and to maintain and expand our broadcast operations.
We're live from the Ross Revenge, and as usual we'll bring you the best music from the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. And the entire weekend is sponsored by Feature Story News. Join us this Friday from 9am on 648 1368 and DAB across the Isle of Man.
Radio Caroline North. Pure nostalgia with Manx Radio. The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
19 minutes before 1. Message in from Amanda who just said, This is a question that is just left over. The Chief Minister was on a couple of weeks ago, and it's regarding the current rental crisis. And Amanda says, our children can't get a rental flat, as each one that comes up, there are 30 plus people going for rental flats. It's all very well and good inviting people to move here and contribute to the economy, and this is the Chief Minister's stated intention to get 15,000 people here to get our population up to 100,000. Amanda says, what about the people that were born here and have paid all their dues? Don't they matter? The rental crisis is something that is ongoing. And Texter 105 says, Andy, regarding the Greenfield Road issue, isn't there already a crossing just further down the road by the gymnastics centre? Not exactly far. Also, when talking about children crossing for the park, there's a crossing at the cemetery. Sorry if I'm missing the point here, but why don't they use the ones that are already there? Says that. And another one says, Texter 338, just simply move the nearby crossing. It's only 50 yards away. Just move it along the lines. Single-use plastics. Are they going to ban bin bags? Says Robbie. I don't think so. And regarding the horse box, a WhatsApper says... this is 232 on WhatsApp. The person was very upset by the way people got nasty on social media. Well, that's social media for you, isn't it? If somebody just spoken to her privately, she would have just moved the horse box. It wasn't in the way. There's a lot of space there, and it was for the horse. We need less red tape and more common sense. This is it. All they needed was a private conversation. And what safeguards are there for our wildlife would there be in place with tidal power? There have been some very sad and concerning images of seals and porpoises that have been skewered when this was tried in the Wash in Norfolk. Thank you for that. WhatsApp 487. Dodsy's with us. Hi, Dodsy.
Hello, mate. I just want to touch on roads, if I may. Well, I'd rather drive on them than touch them.
Yeah.
But, regarding that crossing by the top end of the grandstand there,
yeah,
it probably would make sense for the students to have a crossing there, because, like you said, there are some less able students that go to that school, and, of course, they use the excess ramps and stuff to get down the hill and whatnot. Well, not down the hill, but down the stairs. But the other thing I was going to say is they've really done a good job on York Road, and I'm just wondering, part of this work scheme or whatever they've got on, or the planned road works, if they're going to do the top of Broadway around St. Ninians and other surrounding roads, because it would be nice if they could do that.
Have they finished it's Ballacquail Road, isn't it, that's closed? Have they finished that?
No, York Road is still closed. It's the bottom section at the moment that's closed. But it looks absolutely fantastic. So long as they don't wreck it with too much of that chip and tar, then it'll be fine for driving on again. But the actual base of the road surface was all cracked and broken.
Yeah.
And the top of St. Ninians is starting to look the same, just at by the school entranceway there. But there's many roads that I can mention that are in a poor state that need doing up, to be honest.
Well, as you drive for a living, Dodgy, I'll put you on the spot. Where's the worst pothole at the moment?
Worst pothole? Well, I know there's a recurring pothole on Mount Road, which is just by Avondale Road. If you come off from Avondale Road, you've got Mountain View Road there, and there's always recurring potholes there. And I don't see why they haven't completely pulled that road up to bedrock and relayed it, because the amount of times that we come out and repatch the road's crazy.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Dodgy. Drive carefully.
Cheers.
All the best. Yes. York Road it is that's closed at the moment. And interestingly, as you go down York Road to where the V comes up, that's where the old cable cars used to go to. I think the cable car terminus was down York Road there, so heaven knows what's been up and down that road in the time, but now they're doing it up. Good. The Manx government's destroyed all the Manx heritage. Now they want to take away the Manx pound. I don't think they want to take away the Manx pound. They just want to stop us using cash. The demise of the American manufacturer Proterra, who make electric buses, vans and trucks, has seen the company's share price drop by 88%, forcing them to seek Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Let's hope the UK company Wrightbus doesn't suffer the same fate with their Electroliner electric bus, which visited the Isle of Man this year. Do you remember that electric bus when it came over? Did you see it? Everybody, well, the great and the good went on board. Everybody else just took photos from outside. But Proterra have gone for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in America. Thank you, Julian. Good to hear from you. 828, that lady's correct. It was always understood that a person could not run a business from a commissioner's house, which is only fair as it provides cheap business offices and premises, being an unfair advantage. However, it seems now the thinking has changed to not running a business in a commissioner's house. But many people do. And this can't be policed. Commissioners' house tenants need to be paying a fair commercial rent for society to be fair, surely. Will that happen? It's not happening at the moment, says Texter 828. So is it true you can't run a business, or you're not allowed to run a business from a commissioner's house? The idea, says Fran, about vans and motorhomes is a good one. When I drive down Leaney Road after work of an evening, it's just become a dumping ground for builders' vans along with DOI vans. And this is the important thing. Government vans are being parked. These builders should surely park in their own builders' yards, and the DOI vans should be at the depot in Shipyard Road in Ramsey. Plus, there are vans being used for storage. They're taxed, but uninsured. Well, they can't be taxed if they're uninsured, can they? Well, I suppose so. For 11 months they could be. And flat tyres just dumped on the Ponderosa, says Fram. Well, I drove down to Gladstone Park the other day, and there are, as that's private now, I don't know who owns Gladstone Park now. I think it was up for sale at one time. But there are some vehicles down there, presumably with the owner's consent. We'll see. Regarding single-use plastics, does this mean condoms will be made illegal? It's a serious question. I don't think so, Texter 084, but I'm glad we got that out of the way. Dick says, given Garth put up their rates 10% this year, Ramsey kept theirs the same. I'm all in favour of Ramsey taking over part of Mackald. Is there any chance you could get them to take over the rest of Mackald while they're at it? Says Dick. Mostly because if you live this side of Bulgham Rock, you can't get anything done in Garth. All the money seems to go to Laxey, and Mackald needs streetlights. Pavements doing up and the bins emptying before Laxey gets its skate park. It was way better, says Dick, before we became Garth.
Hi, James from Tracy Bell here. Do you need new dentures? Do you need new crowns? Well, with nearly 60 years of combined experience, the team at Tracy Bell offer outstanding treatments and results in traditional and modern dentistry, customised discreetly just for you. Call 613323 or visit tracybell.co.uk and arrange your consultation. Tracy Bell, helping you to be better.
Choose Manx Glass and Glazing for supply only or supply and installation of a wide range of quality products. All types of glazing work undertaken, plus fabulous doors and conservatories in both traditional and contemporary styles. And whether UPVC or aluminium, you can be sure of excellent workmanship and guarantees at Manx Glass and Glazing. See for yourself when you visit the showroom on Snugborough Trading Estate. Manx Glass and Glazing. Quality and style since 1986.
Q Plus is much more than a plumbing and heating trade counter. Come and explore the largest bathroom showroom on the island, where we're always updating our displays and stocking the latest bathroom designs and trends to make sure we have just what you're looking for. Visit Q Plus on Snugborough Trading Estate or find us on Facebook to see some fabulous bathroom inspiration.
Qplus.co.il. The Royal Manx Show is back. Friday the 11th and Saturday the 12th of August. Don't miss a true Manx tradition with livestock stalls, local food producers and great entertainment. the Glebe View Clydesdales, the Land Rover Display Team, the Meglam Competition, and so much more. The Royal Manx Agricultural Show, Knockalo Farm, Patrick. 2 days of right royal fun for all. In association with Manx Telecom and supported by IFGL and your nation station, Manx Radio.
Jump aboard the time train and take a trip back to the 1960s on Carnaby Street every Saturday morning at 8:30 with Isle of Man Railways. It's full of 60s hits and memories. On board the time train, Gladys the tea lady.
Right, boys.
Harry the driver.
Hello, crispy old mate.
Roger the fireman.
All aboard Isle of Man Railways time train.
Oh, and Raffles the dog. And of course you and me. You can win tickets for two for one of the Isle of Man Railways fantastic dining car experiences. Carnaby Street, 8:30 on Manx Radio, on AM, FM, online, on smart speakers and all over the world at manxradio.com. The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
And Roger's with us. Hi, Roger.
Hi, good afternoon, Andy. Just a follow-on from the single-use plastics, and different callers are ringing in. Our own experience was just a couple of days ago. We was in the UK and got a cup of tea at a service station, and in line with current policies that the spoon was wooden, as were the little knives and forks and that sort of thing. The container the cup of tea came in was recyclable, written right across it. Yet they put on top of it a plastic top. The one with a little hole in it, there's spill in it when you walk in. And I just wondered what the way forward is on that one, or what the thinking is.
Well, presumably they'll come up with a cardboard one or something made of bamboo in the future.
Yeah, I was thinking, a wooden one that wouldn't be cost effective, would it? But I just wondered if anybody had raised that question before.
I wonder, and well, it all happens. And one question that's come up, and it's regarding bushes during TT. And plastic glasses, and apparently plastic glasses during TT are going to be exempt because they don't want glass glasses everywhere, and you couldn't give people paper cups of beer in. So we think that the TT has triumphed over that.
Really? Well, I'm not suggesting they should give paper cups, but why couldn't they? If they can do it with cups of tea and cups of coffee, why can't they do it with cold drinks?
Well, certainly, I think I've been to some concerts in the UK where they do serve beer in large, the large cups that they serve large Coca-Cola and stuff in. You can get that. But apparently, the TT and plastic glasses are going to be exempt from this, so they'll try and recycle as many as they can.
Good. Long may it last.
All right. Thanks, Roger.
Cheers, Andy. Take care.
Good to hear from you. This coming Friday, we're going to be live at Knockalo in Patrick. It's the Royal Manx Agricultural Show this Friday and Saturday. And on Friday, Mannin Line's live. DEFA Minister Claire Barber's going to be there, along with Bill Dale from Beach Buddies. We'll be talking a lot about plastics. Well, everything's on Friday is going to be about the environment and farming, agribusiness, they call it nowadays, and agroeconomics, countryside management, skills training and recruitment for the farming industry. But Bill will be talking about plastics and what we can do. Finlay MacLeod's going to be there from the Isle of Man Creamery. They've got a novel way of recycling the creamery cartons as well. Hopefully, I think it's going to be Ian Parsons or Murray Kringle will be there from the Manx NFU. Maybe both of them. Anyway, the Manx NFU will be chipping in. Andy Bass from Conister Bank, one of the biggest providers of finance to the farming industry. And the new managing director of Isle of Man Meats, Rebecca Mia, will be there. So we'll have some interesting opinions on Friday. If you're going to the show, by the way, you can actually win an Isle of Man Creamery hamper. In fact, I think they've got two of them to give away. You just have to go to the Manx Radio stand. We'll be there. The Purple Army will be there. Have your photo taken. We've got this big frame. You put yourself in the frame, take a photo, and it goes into the draw. And as two people are going to win these Isle of Man Creamery hampers, jam-packed with Manx Creamery produce. Have you seen the cheese is just absolutely fantastic. So that's this coming Friday, Royal Manx Agricultural Show. And a week tomorrow, Andrew Lang Newton and John Curtis John Curtis, who's from Net Zero Matrix, who's in the business of net zero. He makes money from it. He's a businessman. Andrew Langan-Newton is the leader of the Manx Green Party. So we got politics and business for net zero. So it's net zero, hero or villain, if you like. This a week tomorrow for net zero 2, and this coming Friday we're live at the Royal Manx Agricultural Show. More messages in, and this is regarding if helicopters could do the job at Erie Stane, were the site suitable, why are we talking about new harbours and building roads? If the government needs to do its research, says Richie, show it transparently to the public, get the answers, and get the ducks in a row before making proposals or settling on anything. Well, we'll find out. Tim Glover and Jason Morehouse said it's all a bit rushed. In fact, it was kind of proposed that this may have been so rushed that it's not going to happen. And that comes under the heading of greenwashing, you know. We're doing something, we'd love to do something, but sadly we can't. Well, we'll find out, but thanks, Richie, for that. Government departments and Manx Telecom encourage staff to take their work vans home at night and also for weekend due to parking issues at depots. The government's vacated a lot of property of late and share with other departments and only have parking now for office staff. Oh, that's the reason. Yes, but what's the answer? Thanks for that. 223. Back tomorrow with another open line. Thanks to Harry Kane on the phones today.
WINT.